Hey, Cowboys Nation! Today, we are diving deep into the whirlwind surrounding America's team, focusing on one of the most talked about decisions this season. The Dallas Cowboys have officially parted ways with defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, a move that many fans had anticipated, but that still brings mixed emotions after enduring a season where defensive breakdowns dominated headlines. This decision feels both necessary and overdue. The defense struggled consistently, unable to maintain control of games, leaving fans frustrated and questioning how a team with so much offensive talent could be undone so repeatedly by its own defensive shortcomings from the very first games of the season. Warning signs were evident: small lapses in coverage, missed tackles, and a lack of communication slowly grew into systemic issues, and by mid-season, it was clear that the Cowboys' defense was in crisis. The inability to stop even average offenses repeatedly turned competitive games into blowouts, and what should have been manageable situations escalated into full-scale collapses. Week after week, the numbers told a story that was hard to ignore. The Cowboys allowed opponents to score over 30 points on multiple occasions, with some games seeing defenses concede well into the 40s. This was not a matter of bad luck or isolated matchups. It was a pattern that highlighted strategic flaws and insufficient adjustments. The defensive schemes failed to maximize the talent on the roster, and even personnel changes could not patch the gaps. Teams like the Giants, Chargers, Vikings, and Lions repeatedly exposed weaknesses in both run-stopping and pass coverage. Fans witnessed drives that should have ended in crucial stops instead turning into easy touchdowns. The offense, despite producing high-level performances, often found itself in a perpetual struggle to recover from defensive failures. It became painfully obvious that the imbalance between the offense and defense was crippling the team's ability to compete consistently. This season demonstrated that a lack of defensive accountability can quickly negate offensive brilliance, making the need for structural change undeniable. Analyzing the numbers further, the Cowboys allowed over 500 points during the campaign, establishing a franchise record and setting a new low in terms of defensive performance. Historically, no Dallas Cowboys team had ever reached such a high points against total, and seeing it unfold this season was a shock to even the most critical observers. Comparing this to past eras highlights just how severe the issues were. From total yards allowed to points per game, from run defense to secondary coverage, the Cowboys frequently ranked near the bottom of every measurable category. Week after week, errors piled up. Missed tackles, blown coverages, misreads, and failed adjustments became recurring themes. Even games where the offense performed at an elite level were overshadowed by defensive failures, emphasizing that no amount of offensive production can fully compensate for a unit consistently unable to execute at a competitive level. The season became a case study in how a lack of strategic coordination and in-game adaptability can derail a team, no matter how talented its individual players might be. This decision to part ways with Eberflus extends beyond the coordinator himself. Though he certainly bore the brunt of criticism, the challenges were systemic, affecting the defensive line, linebackers, and secondary alike. Injuries, mismatches, and talent gaps magnified weaknesses that coaching alone could not fully address. However, leadership and adjustments remained central to success, and the inability to adapt on the field exposed glaring deficiencies in preparation and strategy. Effective coaching is about anticipating opponents' tendencies, making in-game adjustments, and ensuring players are aligned to execute flawlessly. When those adjustments fail, fans watch games slip away, even when the offense is producing efficiently. The Cowboys' struggles this season reinforced a fundamental truth about the National Football League. Talent alone is not enough. Preparation, communication, and strategic execution are just as crucial. And this defensive unit's repeated lapses demonstrated the consequences when any of these elements are lacking. The repercussions of such a historically poor defensive campaign ripple through the entire organization. Replacing one coordinator is only the start. The team faces the task of reshaping its defensive identity and correcting structural weaknesses. The search for a new defensive leader is critical, with the franchise needing someone who can design a robust scheme, optimize player strengths, and instill discipline across the unit. Past attempts at consistency failed, making this next hire perhaps one of the most significant decisions in recent franchise history. Fans understandably worry whether the front office will prioritize a thorough evaluation or revert to familiar names that may not bring transformative results. The stakes are high. as a misstep in hiring could perpetuate the defensive instability that has plagued the team for years. The Cowboys must carefully weigh experience, flexibility, and leadership ability to ensure the next coordinator can reverse a trend of underperformance and elevate the defense to a competitive standard. Offensive excellence this season only further highlighted defensive deficiencies. There were games in which the Cowboys' offensive unit played at an elite level, yet still fell short because the defense could not hold. Quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers delivered impressive performances, yet their efforts were often undone by defensive lapses. The imbalance between the two sides of the ball made the decision to move on from Eberflus understandable. A team cannot sustain a winning trajectory when one unit persistently fails, and this season provided a stark demonstration of that principle. Each breakdown on defense was magnified by the spotlight on offensive success, creating frustration among fans who watched opportunities slip away due to systemic failures. Every game became a lesson in the importance of balance. No matter how dynamic an offense may be, defensive stability remains critical to consistent competitiveness. Looking back at Eberflus' tenure, there were reasons for initial optimism. Previous coaching successes suggested he could bring structure and accountability to the defense. With experience leading passing games and linebackers units in other franchises, his time in Chicago and Indianapolis highlighted potential for building disciplined units. However, translating that success to the Cowboys' unique roster challenges proved impossible this season. Strategies that worked elsewhere did not align with Dallas personnel, and a lack of adaptability compounded the problem. While external factors such as injuries and talent gaps played a role, the overall consensus remains clear. The results demanded change, and the decision to part ways was necessary. The season's defensive struggles highlighted not only failures in execution, but also the importance of a leadership presence capable of guiding a unit under pressure and making tactical adjustments in real time. With Eberflus' departure now official, all eyes turn to the future and the critical task of hiring a new defensive coordinator. Fans, analysts, and team leadership are already weighing priorities. Should experience outweigh innovation? Should scheme adaptability take precedence, or is talent development most crucial? Candidates capable of managing high-pressure situations, implementing strategic schemes, and motivating players effectively are in demand. The Cowboys have the resources to secure a top-tier candidate, but the process must be deliberate to avoid repeating past mistakes. A rushed or limited search could perpetuate historical weaknesses, whereas a calculated approach has the potential to redefine the defense's identity. The upcoming hire will be pivotal, potentially shaping the trajectory of the team for multiple seasons and providing a foundation for future success. As the Cowboys look ahead, it becomes clear that simply replacing the coordinator will not suffice. Every layer of the defensive unit requires evaluation and potential restructuring. The front line must assert control at the line of scrimmage, disrupt opponent timing, and limit easy runs. Linebackers must display versatility in both coverage and run stopping, while the secondary must tighten communication, eliminate gaps, and anticipate offensive schemes. Transforming a historically weak unit will not happen overnight. It will require deliberate planning, strong leadership, and meticulous execution at every level. Dallas now faces the challenge of rebuilding its defensive identity from the ground up, a task that demands patience, vision, and strategic insight, ensuring that the mistakes of this season are not repeated. The pressure on the front office is immense, and fan expectations are higher than ever. In previous years, the Cowboys' approach to hiring coordinators sometimes felt rushed, resulting in inconsistent outcomes. This time, the organization has an opportunity to conduct a comprehensive search, analyzing candidates' track records, coaching philosophies, and ability to adapt in high-pressure situations. The right hire could redefine the defense, instill accountability, and foster a culture of resilience that translates into consistent performance on the field. It is not simply about correcting past mistakes. It is about establishing a long-term framework where defensive reliability becomes a hallmark of the team. The stakes are significant, as the next hire will impact not only the upcoming season, but also the franchise's trajectory. For years to come, talent development will be a critical component of this process. Throughout the season, several players showed flashes of potential, yet inconsistent coaching and a lack of defensive cohesion prevented these moments from translating into victories. Young players need guidance. Veterans require reinforcement, and every member of the roster must align with a new defensive philosophy. Injuries, Situational football and matchups become more manageable when players understand their roles, trust their coaching staff, and execute with precision. A strong defensive coordinator can maximize individual abilities while creating a unified approach that strengthens the entire unit. Without such leadership, even the most talented players may fail to reach their potential, emphasizing that this hire carries both tactical and psychological weight for the team. The contrast between the Cowboys' offense and defense this season was striking. While the offense generated career-best performances and displayed elite execution, the defense repeatedly undermined these efforts. It served as a stark reminder that balance is essential in professional football. No team can consistently compete in the National Football League if one side of the ball is persistently failing. The Cowboys have a strong foundation on offense, yet without a defense capable of matching that level of performance, victories remain elusive. The new defensive coordinator will be tasked with bridging this gap, ensuring that the offense's efforts are not wasted and that the team can control games, sustain drives, and protect leads from start to finish. Beyond strategy and coaching, systemic organizational challenges must also be addressed. Personnel decisions, draft choices, and long-term planning all intersect with defensive performance. A coordinator can implement schemes and make adjustments, but without the right players in the right positions, even the most sophisticated strategies are ineffective. The front office must evaluate the roster carefully, identifying weaknesses in coverage, assessing the line, and building depth to withstand injuries and high-pressure matchups. These efforts, combined with a competent coordinator, can transform the defense from a liability into a competitive unit. Sustainable success requires coordination between coaching and management, ensuring that each decision reinforces the team's overall goals and addresses the root causes of past failures. This season's historical context cannot be overlooked. Allowing over 500 points is unprecedented for the Cowboys and serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of systemic weaknesses. While it is tempting to assign blame solely to the coordinator, the reality is that the problems were multifaceted. Coaching inefficiencies, personnel gaps, and lack of real-time adjustments combined to create a historically poor defensive performance. Recognizing the complexity of the situation is essential for meaningful improvement. The team cannot rely on a single hire to fix systemic problems. It requires comprehensive planning, disciplined execution, and accountability at every level. The mistakes of this season offer a blueprint for what needs to change, providing an opportunity to transform frustration into meaningful progress. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. CeeDee Lamb has ignited the rumor mill after a fiery post-game interview, in which he didn't hold back about the state of the Dallas Cowboys. The star wide receiver, who has been one of the few consistent bright spots on the team, reportedly expressed frustration over what he perceives as a lack of leadership within the locker room. Sources close to the team claim Lamb's words have sparked intense speculation about potential shakeups behind the scenes. According to insiders, Lamb was candid about his disappointment following the latest loss, hinting that the team's struggles go beyond just X and O's. "We've got talent, but right now the team doesn't have leadership," he allegedly said, sending ripples through both fans and media outlets. The comments have fueled speculation that players may be privately questioning the coaching staff's ability to rally the squad during critical moments. While the Cowboys have long been regarded as a team with high expectations, whispers now suggest that internal disagreements could be simmering, possibly affecting morale on and off the field. Analysts are already debating what Lamb's comments could mean for the franchise. Some insiders speculate that the remarks may indicate a growing rift between the players and the front office, while others suggest it could be a strategic move by Lamb to motivate his teammates. Whatever the case, league watchers are watching closely for any signs of change in team dynamics. Veteran players may be called upon to step up as unofficial leaders, or the coaching staff might face pressure to assert greater control over the locker room atmosphere. Fans, of course, have taken to social media, speculating wildly about what comes next. Some interpret Lamb's words as a wake-up call that could galvanize the Cowboys for the remainder of the season, while others fear the comments are a sign of deeper issues that won't be easily fixed. Rumors of potential trades, locker room meetings, and even coaching evaluations have already begun to swirl, though nothing has been confirmed. Whatever the truth, One thing is clear, CeeDee Lamb has made waves, and the Cowboys locker room is now under intense scrutiny. The league is watching. Fans are buzzing, and the story is far from over. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.